Yeah, so this is a picture I've done on Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the founder of Sikhism. Um, it is my interpretation. So before Sikhs go, oh, it doesn't look like what he's supposed to be, it's my interpretation. I know it doesn't look like, I've never met him, but this is what I would like him to look like. And so he's a very significant person in history, obviously, because he found the Sikh faith. I'm going to kind of go through a calendar that was printed for me in 2016 for 2017 by the Sikh Lens from America. And the calendar was to basically raise awareness about who Sikhs are in America because there's a confusion. Obviously, because of 9/11, a lot of Sikhs have been kind of attacked and murdered actually in America for, because they wear the turban. And so I got by the name Pentacular Artist. A lot of people that, even Sikhs that dislike me, don't know I'm the Pentacular Artist. It's like my pseudonym. I'm like a superhero. And people don't realize that's me. Uh, and so it's only when I kind of like start showing people my artwork, they go, oh, I didn't realize that was you, like the guy from Speaker's Corner. And so they printed it for free. They flew me out. They flew me out twice actually to America for 10 days. And I was just down there and I just launched this calendar. And so as you can see, um, yeah, before I go on actually, yesterday there was actually a lot of Sikhs came down to the park actually, as you can see from here. And it was actually for a rally for 1984. I don't mean the dystopian 1984. I mean the 1984, which is actually uh, a rally or a kind of for the kind of attacks on the Golden Temple in 1984, which resulted in Indira Gandhi's. What can I say? I'm not going to say too much. Let's just say she passed away, and so they were there yesterday. And they were trying to talk to this, about theology and about how Sikhs and the Dharmic faiths in general, their concept of God is very different from the Abrahamic faiths. And so, I don't ever talk about religion in terms of theology. This is pointless, and this particular conversation proves it. Because people from the Abrahamic faiths, who make up most of the people that go to Speaker's Corner in terms of religion, cannot get the concept of the way we see God. Um, and we don't have that concept of heaven and hell per se, the way, you know, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam has, of a God that's quite unforgiving and you only got one chance, and there's a hell where you're going to burn in eternity. Maybe like Ali Diva. Ali Diva's going to, I think unless he changes his ways and stops treating Saeed in a bad way, he'll go to the hellfire. Um, you know, Ali Diva needs to go back to Ali Dawa. Ali Dawa was not as bad as Ali Diva, but they were still pretty bad. So yeah, yeah. So the conversation, if you watch, was just totally pointless. Made no sense to anyone who's not from a dharmic faith, because when you're trying to describe God to someone who's from the dharmic faiths, which is obviously Sikhism, Hinduism, Jainism, and Buddhism. Although there's a lot of differences, there are some particular similar concepts like reincarnation, and the concept of God is pretty similar. And so we don't have that. You can't. It's very difficult. It's like hitting your head against a brick wall. So I don't talk about that. I just talk about good ideas and bad ideas. So you can see, here's one of my favorite ever drawings, my Spider-Man one. I love Spider-Man when I was younger. It looks more detailed because it's smaller now. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna just go through each month and just talk about stuff. So yeah, if anyone knows, I do love space, and here you go. He's an astronaut, one of my favourite drawings as well, and that is the first month of January. And I've always said I want to go into space alone and just uh, die out there, man. Just go by myself and just chill out. And here's the reflection in the middle. A lot of people think it's a robot, but it's not. It's a reflection with the camera. And so, you know, um, this is probably one of my most popular drawings that a lot of people don't know I've drawn. It's obviously February and Sikh soldiers, badass. What people don't know is like the Sikhs only make up like 1% of the Indian population, but make up over 15% of the army. They are they're kind of like the backbone of the army, the most decorated regiments. And I personally believe without the Sikh soldiers within the Indian army, they would have had a hard time beating the Pakistani army twice. What humiliation! They got battered. They got battered, and even the generals on the Pakistani side underestimated the Indians, because some of the Indians, no offense to the Indians, the rest of them, because Punjab, India is a big place, so people are built very different in different areas, and a lot of the Indians are kind of scrawny little things. No offense to those guys, but they don't have the kind of military prowess of the Punjab. I'm talking about Punjabis. You could be Hindu. You could be thinking about when you go to like Gujarat and places. Most of them are quite very soft. They haven't got that militaristic kind of prowess. And so when Pakistan tried to, go to war with India, they got battered by these guys. I'm talking about literally battered. Battered. It was humiliating. Like they just like that. Even the general said if it wasn't for the Sikhs, the Pakistani generals, that they would have won. And so that's just the way it is, man. Like me, like a one-man army when I'm going Speaker's Corner. Just destroying minds. So yeah, and a lot of people have this particular drawing on their screensavers, on their phones. I've met people that didn't know it was me, and when I showed them it was me, they just like, "Oh wow, I can't believe you drew that." And you can see, I'm just kind of like, I'm like an artist that's kind of unknown physically, but known through my name, Pentacular Eyes, not Raj Singh Tara Pentacular, because I got a pseudonym that I go by. Bapul Surat Singh, yeah, this is related to what was going on Speaker's Corner. It's about political prisoners from. He was having a hunger strike, Sikh political prisoners, which is kind of related to 1984 and stuff. So he was having a hunger strike because people are being imprisoned falsely, and he was trying to get their release. Poor guy, poor guy. He didn't die, but he's still alive. They keep him force feeding him, so taking him to a hospital and force feeding him, which is bad. Now this is like if you was to say why am I still a Sikh, because I think Sikhism, when practiced properly, is a beautiful faith. And when I've met people that are practicing the faith properly, I'm like, wow, that is an incredible kind of way to be. Like a guy called Bhai Jagdaj Singh, who's passed away, and he was from basics of Sikh. He used to go to Speaker's Corner. Whenever anyone wants to insult me, they always say, "Why are you not like Jagdaj Singh?" And I'm like, hold on a second. There's no way I can be like him. The guy was an Oxford graduate of philosophy. He was in the army. His intellect was on another level. His knowledge was on another level. And so there's no way, no one's going to live up to that for a long time. And so, I don't even try. And the reason why he was like that was because of the 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And for me, you know, one of the most influential people, or one of the most greatest individuals. Now, I respect all the gurus. So people start saying, "Oh, it's not just the one guru." No, no, I know, but he finalized the way the Sikhs are today with a military prowess and the saint soldier ethos. That you have to be a soldier. If you're a soldier, you also need to be a saint. You need that mix. And he was the one that done that. He had so much sacrifice throughout his life. His father, Guru Tegh Bahadur, was beheaded for trying to help the Hindus, and then and his great grandfather was a warrior as well. And then you had his children, which is one of the things. So this is a drawing of him holding a baby. His older son Baba Ajit Singh, and all of his four children was sacrificed in the sense that they all passed away before him. Very sad situation. He died in 1708, and his children died before that in 1705. All very young. So I'll skip to the last page just because it's about him. And this was actually his mum, Mata Gujari, and they were captured. This is his two sons, younger ones, Zorawar and Fateh Singh. Sahibzade Zorawar and Fateh Singh, 6 and 9, and they were bricked up alive for not converting to Islam. And you had his other sons. These are just some more drawings. You know, Sahibzade Jujhar Singh and Ajit Singh, and they died in battle. Young age as well, very young age, just in below 20s. And then his mum also kind of, I think because of the stress, she passed away. And this is them when they were captured and they were put into a fort. And this gentleman here, a Hindu guy, used to give them milk and he was executed. And so there was a lot of sacrifice that the 10th Guru had to go through for his whole family. And he was still strong. And, you know, whenever even when I wasn't you know, didn't really kind of like, you know, believe myself to be that close to Sikhism or any sort of culture or anything, I always used to still look at his kind of life as a way to kind of deal with stress. And if he could put himself through that, you know, and still look at the positives, then, you know, there's very few, like, I have to say, you know, the Gurus, I love the Gurus. And I love Guru Gobind Singh Ji, obviously, because, you know, without him, we wouldn't be here, man. The Sikhs wouldn't be here. He's that important. Uh, Obviously, this is more about what's actually made. This is a drawing that made me into a misanthrope, that made me hate humanity for such a long time. Because I had to research the dairy industry, which I didn't realize how evil the dairy industry is. I thought it was just the meat industry. And so when I researched, I realized the dairy industry is just as evil. I'll go into more detail in a future video. And yeah, it's a sick um, industry that, you know, I'm part of because I can't stop freaking eating chocolate. Don't know what's wrong with me. You know, I'm an evil. You know, this is why I get annoyed with myself. Like, I know what's going on, and I'm still freaking part of it. You know, some people are just ignorant and they don't care. Yeah, here's another great individual in terms of Sikh history, not necessarily religion. Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Um, he was a person that united all the Sikhs and you know, ruled the Punjab all the way up to Afghanistan, and was, you know, Sikhs were secular rulers, so, you know, there were loads of people within his court from different religions, Muslims, Hindus, Christians. And this is a drawing just to prove that. I did this drawing. I need to kind of get it bigger. You can see him in the core, and this guy here is a badass. Hari Singh Nalawal, Akali Fulla Singh in the back, and then you won't know who that is, but Hari Singh Nilawal is probably one of the greatest generals ever. He was one of the only people to conquer the Khyber Pass and take it all the way there. So even like they used to use his name to scare people because he was a bit of a, yeah, he was a badass, let's just say. So he was blind in one eye actually. This is another drawing I've done about water and how people in the West and the people in the third world kind of see water differently. And so here you can see water is precious, and I called that lifeline. You can see I actually really love that. That's one of my favorite metal drawings that I've done of a pump. It looks real. And then in the West, these little brats are wasting water like I used to with the guns, and I was trying to show the difference between the concepts of how they see water, and I call that one playtime. So sad. And then Bhagat Pooran Singh, this guy opened up a home for the disabled and the orphans in India. Amazing guy. Done the portrait, and I gave it as a gift to that particular place called Pingarwala in India, and they've got it up on the wall, and so I'm very grateful. I want to visit that place when I go to India. Very inspirational man. He's passed away now though. This is the guy that I said Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and this is actually his son, Maharaja Dalip Singh. And very sad story if you think about it. You know, when people say the British done some bad things in the colonial times, this is one of them. They took him and they anglicised him, and he was living in the UK for quite a long time, and he became like an English gent, a real kind of like trying to brainwash him. But you know, I love the UK, but this is a kind of a disgrace what happened to him, and yeah, I'll talk about it more in another video. But yeah, it's a nice pic actually. Still happy with that one. Some pics I don't like now, and some pics I do because this is old. Now, this is just about Mendi. It's an art form, you know, when they do Mendi, very difficult thing to do. So I did that one. Not really, doesn't really age well, I don't think. And this is kind of like about unity actually, because it's actually Guru Nanak Dev Ji and his companions by Balla and Mardana. Mardana was actually a Muslim. I'm pretty sure he was a Sufi. I actually think Sufism is the real Islam. If I'm being honest, with you, I think it's not. I very rarely meet Sufis, but when I do, um, I personally think that Sufi Islam, if that was practiced, that the world and the Muslims would be in a much better place. I think personally is the way forwards. Unfortunately, people find it too spiritual and mystical, which I think is what brings it to a kind of more kind of compassionate and more forward-thinking faith. So yeah, that's pretty much it through the calendar. So, like I said, I just talking about other stuff as I'm going through it. I'm still on day 7, and still, I'm okay. Nothing's happened. There's a bigger versions of them. That's actually the real size. On there was small. So like I said, going to Speaker's Corner and talking about theology. Watch this video, and then you'll understand. There's no point talking about theology. No point at all. It's pointless. You just run around in circles all day. I talk about subject matters that I think are important, and that's it. Anyway, take care, and like I said, I'm gonna be back. I'll be back at Speaker's Corner very soon, and let the fun begin again.